Welcome to AI Assembled, the top AI news for small business. I'm Chris Doelle, and each week I bring you the most important AI developments that can transform your business. Let's dive into this week's top stories.
Anthropic shipped Claude Opus 4.8 on May 28th. And what stands out is not the model, it's the framing. Anthropic itself called the release, quote, a modest but tangible improvement, end quote. That kind of honesty from an AI lab is rare, and it sets the tone for what is actually in the box. On the headline coding benchmark, SWE Bench Pro, Opus 4.8 scored 69.2%, almost 5 points ahead of the previous Opus and more than 10 points clear of GPT 5.5 and Gemini 3.1 Pro. Even more interesting for any small business that has tried to vibe code its own internal tools, Opus 4.8 is roughly 4 times less likely than its predecessor to let flaws in its own code slide by unremarked. In plain English, it now tells you when it's not sure. The mixed reviews come from 2 places. First, a smaller, cheaper model, Gemini 3.5 Flash, beat Opus 4.8 on finance agent work. Second, heavy users on Reddit are reporting that the new Opus models consume noticeably more tokens per task than older versions, partly because of tokenizer changes. So even though the headline pricing is unchanged at $5 per million input and $25 per million output, the real-world bill can creep up. The fast mode tier did get a major price cut, 3 times cheaper than before. For a small business, the takeaway is simple. If you're paying per token in any Claude-powered tool, watch your usage this week. The intelligence per dollar is better, but the tokens per task may also be higher. While Anthropic was launching its modest upgrade, DeepSeek was rewriting the floor of the entire AI pricing war. On May 23rd, the Chinese AI lab DeepSeek announced that the 75% discount on its flagship V4 Pro model, which was supposed to expire May 31st, is now permanent. That puts V4 Pro at roughly 1/4 of its original price, with input tokens landing as low as 43 cents per million. To put that in perspective, that is a fraction of what Claude or GPT 5.5 charges for comparable frontier tier inference. DeepSeek did not disclose whether the cut was driven by new supply of Huawei Ascend 950 chips, which it uses to run V4 Pro, but the signal to the rest of the market is clear. The cost of high-end AI is collapsing fast. For a small business, this has 2 implications. If you're paying for an enterprise model through a third-party tool that supports multiple providers, and Microsoft Copilot now offers exactly that, which we'll get to in a minute, you may soon see DeepSeek as an option. And second, every AI tool vendor pitching you a subscription this year is now under enormous pressure to either drop their price or prove their value. Ask vendors directly, what does my monthly bill look like if inference costs drop another 50% in the next 12 months? If they can't answer, that tells you something. Speaking of Microsoft, this is the most important small business announcement of the week. On May 28th, Microsoft introduced 2 brand new SKUs, Microsoft 365 Business Standard with Copilot and Microsoft 365 Business Premium with Copilot. They launch July 1st. The key phrase is built in, not bolted on. Copilot will live directly inside Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook, and it connects to more than 1,000 outside business tools: Shopify, PayPal, Xero, DocuSign, Asana, Canva, Monday.com, Bamboo HR, and on, without the small business owner doing any plumbing. The most interesting feature? Microsoft is shipping a model chooser. You will be able to pick whether your task runs on a model from OpenAI or from Anthropic. Yes, including the new Claude Opus 4.8 we just talked about, and switch between them job by job. That means the average small business owner no longer needs to maintain separate subscriptions to ChatGPT, Claude, and Copilot. One SKU, multiple frontier models. The premium tier also enforces data labels. Mark a customer list or a contract as confidential, and Microsoft prevents it from being forwarded, copied to personal email, or accidentally shared, even with the AI. For small businesses that have been quietly worried about whether ChatGPT was leaking their data, this is the answer Microsoft is betting will close the deal. Watch for pricing details in the coming weeks. If you're already on Business Standard, expect an upgrade prompt as soon as July 1st arrives.
Now to the biggest shakeup in paid advertising in years. At Google Marketing Live last week, Google announced it is killing dynamic search ads in favor of a fully AI-driven system called AI Max for search. The rollout has two phases. Phase 1 is happening now, with upgrade tools. Phase 2 hits in September, when every remaining eligible legacy campaign will be auto-upgraded. After that, advertisers will no longer be able to create new dynamic search ad campaigns in Google Ads, in Google Ads Editor, or through the Ads API. That's not a soft sunset. That's a hard deadline. Here's what it means for a small business running paid search. Today, you tell Google what keywords to bid on, and roughly where your ads should show up. Under AI Max, Google's AI infers customer intent and chooses the keywords, the asset combinations, the landing pages, and the moment to enter the auction, all on its own. You lose direct control of channel placement. You're trading granularity for reach, and Google is asking you to trust the black box. Google did announce some guardrail features, including something called AI Brief, where you can give the AI plain language instructions about your brand, and conversational attributes in Merchant Center for richer product data. But the reporting transparency that paid search managers have relied on for a decade is genuinely collapsing. For a small business with a tight ad budget, the immediate to-do list is short. Clean up your landing pages right now, because that is what AI Max actually reads. Tighten your product feeds, and consider locking down a percentage of budget into exact match keyword campaigns that AI Max cannot touch, at least until you can see how it performs on your account. OpenAI is racing into that same ad market from the opposite direction. At the end of May, OpenAI rolled out a self-service ads manager for ChatGPT. And this is the line that matters for small businesses. The previous $50,000 minimum spend has been completely removed. That $50,000 barrier was the moat keeping ChatGPT advertising the exclusive playground of big brands. It's gone. With the new Ads Manager, any merchant, including a one-person operation, can set daily budgets, upload creative, and target by state, by media market, or even by zip code. OpenAI also added pixel tracking and a conversion API, so you can measure real ROI, clicks, purchases, form submissions. And it's plugging in dynamic call-to-action buttons, buy now, book now, register, directly into the conversation flow. So picture a customer asking ChatGPT what running shoes to buy for plantar fasciitis. That used to be an unmonetized conversation. Now, it's a paid placement with a shoppable carousel attached. OpenAI is internally targeting $2.5 billion in ad revenue this year, which tells you how serious this is. For small business owners, here's the practical play. If you sell something local or specific, a service in one zip code, a product to a narrow audience, ChatGPT ads are now a real channel worth testing with a small budget. Probably $200 to $500 in spend will tell you whether it works for your business before competitors flood in. Story 3 in this block, and one that small businesses outside of India should still pay attention to. Meta this month launched Business AI inside the WhatsApp Business app, starting in India. The feature lets a small business train an AI agent on its own product catalog and FAQ. No coding, no third-party software, and then have that agent handle customer questions 24 hours a day. It answers product questions, captures leads, books appointments, recommends products, and the business owner can step in and take over the conversation at any time. Meta is reporting early case studies that are striking. One personal care brand says its late-night conversion rate jumped to 80 to 90% after turning business AI on. A gifting company says it's now closing 6 to 7 orders per day directly through AI-handled queries, with a 40% increase in sales. The reason this matters, even if you're not in India, 91% of online adults in India already chat with a business weekly, and Meta is using that market as the proving ground for a feature that is coming to other regions. If WhatsApp or Messenger is part of how your customers reach you, expect a similar business AI rollout in your market within the next 12 months. The lesson to take away now? Start documenting your most common customer questions, your pricing rules, your shipping policies, and your tone of voice. That is the exact input these AI agents need to be trained on, and the businesses that have it ready will move first.
The big small business research story of the week came out of Intuit. QuickBooks released its 2026 AI Impact Report, and it is the most comprehensive look so far at how small and mid-sized businesses are actually using AI. The headline numbers are big. 77% of small businesses now use AI at least regularly, up from 48% in mid-2024. 41% reported revenue increases they attribute to AI. 74% reported productivity improvements. The report surveyed 34,000 business owners across the US, Canada, the UK, and Australia, and combined that with anonymized data from over 5.3 million QuickBooks accounts. Sounds like an unambiguous win. But Forbes did the most useful thing anyone has done with this report, which is look at the fine print. More than half of those businesses describing productivity gains based the answer on, quote, a general feeling that the business was better. Fewer than half were tracking specific metrics. The productivity number came from self-reporting, not time studies. The revenue gains were attributed to AI based on correlation, not controlled measurement. In other words, businesses are buying AI, feeling busier, and assuming the AI is the cause. Forrester separately predicts that 55% of AI projects in 2026 will miss their intended goals, usually because nobody defines success up front. For a small business, the takeaway is uncomfortable but important. Adoption is not ROI. If you cannot tell someone in one sentence what task is now faster, how much faster, and by how many dollars per month, you are not measuring your AI investment. You are paying for it. Meta made one more move worth flagging. On May 27th, Meta officially launched paid subscriptions on Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, with explicit confirmation that AI subscription tiers are coming next. This is the unwind of 15 years of free everything. Meta is betting that some users will pay for an ad-free experience, premium creator content, and eventually exclusive AI features inside the apps. The reason this matters to a small business: paid users see fewer ads, and the audience your organic posts and ads reach is about to fragment by tier. If your customer is the kind of person who will pay for an ad-free Instagram, your organic strategy needs to work harder, and your paid targeting needs to get sharper. Watch what audience targeting controls Meta gives advertisers once subscriptions reach scale. Expect higher CPMs for high-value audiences, and start diversifying any business that relies heavily on a single Meta platform for customer acquisition. So here's the bottom line on this week. Frontier AI capability gains are getting smaller and more honest. Anthropic literally called its release modest. At the same time, inference costs are collapsing. DeepSeek made a 75% cut permanent, and Microsoft is now letting you switch between OpenAI and Anthropic from inside Office on July 1st. The platforms that small businesses depend on for distribution, Google search ads, ChatGPT, WhatsApp, Instagram are all simultaneously layering in AI in ways that take control away from the marketer and hand it to the model. And QuickBooks just confirmed what a lot of owners suspect. Most small businesses adopting AI cannot actually prove it's working. Here is your 5-step action plan for the next 30 days. 1. Audit your AI spend right now. List every subscription, what it is for, and what you would lose if you canceled it tomorrow. If you can't justify it in one sentence, cancel it. 2. Pick 3 tasks you do every week and time them. Then time them again with AI doing the work. Use a stopwatch, not a feeling. That is your baseline. 3. If you run paid search on Google, prepare for AI Max. Clean up your landing pages, update your product feed, and lock in a portion of your budget on exact match keywords before the September auto upgrade. 4. Test ChatGPT ads with a small budget, $200 to $500 over 2 weeks, targeted to your actual local zip codes with pixel tracking turned on. Treat it like a real channel before the rest of your market wakes up. 5. Document your customer FAQs, your pricing rules, your shipping policies, and your brand voice in writing. That document is the fuel you will need to train a business AI agent on WhatsApp, on Messenger, or inside Microsoft 365 Copilot before the end of the year. That's the brief.
That's it for this week's AI Assembled, the top AI news for small business. If you found this valuable, share it with a fellow business owner. If you want a hands-on group that you can work with on your specific AI needs, consider joining Business Success Academy at freshmediaworks.com/BSA. Until next week, keep innovating and keep it real.